am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I trust you will love this vibe. And everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This could be past, present, or future. You or someone around you. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. If you like a personal read, check out the description below. And I'd be happy to assist you with doing so. Remember that tarot is a tool. It is not the final rule. So it's a good idea to keep an empty cup when you are on Lady Noble's channel and you really want to see what's up. Okay. The message that I have for you today, collective, is that for you to understand that in life you will come across people who are not on your vibration, as I speak of quite often, but as well as there are people who will never be able to understand or even choose to respect who you are. This may be someone, they don't know who they are personally, and often people project how they feel about themselves. And so that's a fun fact about life. Whenever you experience someone who who may be different from you, or you both are on two different pages when it comes to belief systems, when it comes to things about life, Spirit is saying that in life it is normal that you're going to cross people who are not on your vibration, who are not on your frequency. And this is natural, it's normal, and it's okay, it's perfectly fine. Because we all are, developing in our own timing, and there's no race. There's no reason to feel like you have to win a race. But often the experiences that you may endure or events, if someone is disrespectful to you, if someone is trying to provoke you, someone's trying to maybe express some kind of slander or hate in any kind of way. This is because they are revealing to you, Spirit is saying, they are revealing to you, collective, how they feel about themselves and where they are in their personal life. And so if you're someone who is constantly working on, maintaining your peace, self-awareness, protecting your energy, then you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. I'm not speaking to anyone who feel like, turning up or being the loudest in the room means that you have authority or that you've won, because actually there is more power and peace in your silence, okay? Because one's for sure, two's for certain is whenever you are, you are aware that you are in the presence of a goofy, there's no reason to entertain that energy. If they're not on your level of understanding, if they're not confident within themselves, they feel like they're in lack, people will project this energy outward. And so often Spirit is saying a lot of conflict or confrontation, whether it's physical, whether it's verbal, that people project onto each other, even small arguments and disagreements, doesn't matter who it is. People are just revealing to you, they want you to keep in mind, they are not, it's like a person calling you out of your name. They're not actually calling you out of your name. They're revealing to you how they feel about themselves. And though people may become offended when they feel disrespected, but the truth is, people are revealing to you on a daily basis, and Spirit wants the collective to know this, how they feel about themselves. If you ever encounter anyone being confrontational or disrespectful, especially someone who is disrespecting you and the energy is unwarranted, okay? Whether this is a friend, a family member, someone you know or you don't know. So keep that in mind. And they want you not to internalize, become stressed or overwhelmed, because it's not about you, it's about them. People are revealing how they feel about themselves, okay? And so often, there are some people who will hear this message and say, be silent. That means nothing. No, being silent actually means a lot. That is the empowered one. That is one form and way to not engage and not lower your vibration and not waste your energy, because it's all about self-preservation, okay? With the Queen of Wands, it's about self-preservation and being able to enjoy the one life that you are given at this time in the matrix, in this moment, okay? And so in order to enjoy the life that you're given, you have to know the difference between what's worth giving your attention to and what isn't worth giving your attention to. Sometimes there are circumstances where you may need a mediator. This could be something at work. Maybe you're not getting along with someone. Maybe someone is trying to constantly poke and pry, trying to initiate some kind of false narrative as if you are the troublemaker on the job or in the family or in the friendship group. Spirit is saying these are just people revealing to you how they feel about themselves. So they want you not to stress. They want you to learn to go within. They want you to learn to connect with source, whatever your belief system is. And do not allow yourself with the Four of Cups to become overwhelmed or feel as if you are being deserted by spirit or by source or by your ancestors, because they're just a conversation away. Okay, so you know the difference. There is a difference. When you are around someone who is just not on your level, someone who can't comprehend and is most likely to become offended. It may be if you use certain vocabulary that they don't understand. And there's nothing wrong with that because everyone doesn't know everything. No one is perfect. If someone is communicating something that you don't understand, in my opinion, it's okay to ask questions and it's okay to Google or dictionary or whatever, or ask somebody, hey, what does that mean? No one knows it all and no one ever will. Spirit is saying this is not a competition. This is not a race. But whenever someone is disrespectful towards you and they're doing it repeatedly, or they're trying to provoke you, maybe to make you upset, they're honestly just revealing because they don't know how to. I'm not going to say they don't know how, excuse me. They do not care to appropriately surrender or release whatever pain or trauma they are enduring. People are in all kind of situationships, issue ships, problematic ships, all kind of things are going on in everyone's life, on a daily, okay? And as I mentioned the other day, we are all just energetic bubbles, passing by each other. And each bubble has a different energy within its own casing, and some people know how to maybe shelf whatever they are experiencing and respect and be cordial with those around them. And there are others who do not know how to process their anger, their resentment, their low self-esteem, anything that, if they're lacking confidence, this could be their aesthetics, their life. Maybe they don't like the life they're living. Maybe they have some kind of addiction, that they're fighting or that is taking over them. Okay. And also, Spirit is saying these could be people who likes to be the loudest when they're in a crowd. When they're by themselves, they're quiet. They have nothing to say. But if they have someone with them, they want to be the loudest, with the Ten of Wands. They want to express themselves as if they are bigger than what they are. As they say, what is that saying? Your bark isn't bigger than your bite. They want to put on, they want to present. And so whenever you are aware you're in the presence of this energy, they want you to reserve your energy. They want you to practice self-preservation by not engaging. It's simply not worth it. And so I'm pretty sure that you can reflect on many a times in your life, collective, where you have experienced someone being weird or trying to provoke a situation that didn't make sense, or just someone being weird. Everything I named before that, they're just expressing to you. And the fun fact is they may be aware that they're doing this, or they simply, 80% of the time, they really don't know. Like they think that they're striking a mighty blow. They think that they're making a ripple effect in your world, but they're actually embarrassing themselves. They're revealing who they are. They're revealing how they feel. And they're revealing that there's some kind of inconsistency that they're not willing to address. And so this person may try to pretend to come off as if they are the boss. They run everything. This could be a coworker. This could be someone you work with. They're an employee like you're an employee, but maybe they want to direct you and give you instructions on how to do your job. And you're like, wait a minute. I am an adult. I've been doing this. I pretty much got this. But for some reason, whenever this person works on your shift or in your department, they come off as very bossy, okay? This could also be someone who tries to be very cruel or harsh in their demeanor. But this person is really soft, Spirit is saying. As I mentioned earlier, this is someone they're only loud if there's a crowd. But when they're alone, there's nothing to say. They're on reserve. And that's because the nonsense actions that they give to try to create some kind of exhaustion in your life, number one, is unwarranted, is unnecessary, and they're aware of this. But what's going on is they're unable, collective, to process how to surrender and release the hurt that they feel. Hurt people. And this is something that happened consistently. It has nothing to do with money, where you live, where you work, what you drive. There are a lot of people, there are wealthy people who are carrying pain and hurt and do not know how, or either they don't care to learn how to process and have that release or that major surrender so that they're not, projecting onto others. So keep this in mind when you come across people who are rude or disrespectful, or maybe they want to come off as intimidating. They want to come off as they're intimidating, but they're actually not. They're actually, they're tired of themselves. When they look in the mirror, they become frustrated. And I'm not saying that to be malicious. I'm saying that this person or these people that you deal with who be in this uptight energy, this chaotic energy, these are people who have a lot of mess going on and they don't care to address it. Maybe they want to cover up or camouflage what's taking place in their life. They could do this by, come on, let's go and turn up. Come on, let's go and turn up. Come on. It's 4 a.m. and everyone's like, okay, we can go now. It's 4 a.m. You guys, the birds are going to chirp. Come on, let's just do this. Let's just do this. And you don't mind having a great time, but this person could saturate themselves in overindulgence to camouflage, to try to hide what's going on, beneath, within themselves. And so they want to stay either heavily inebriated, or they have to be around people constantly. This could also be someone who has a problem with silence or solitude. There's nothing wrong with being around people. There's nothing wrong with going out and having a great time. But this is someone who becomes disturbed. If there is no one around, they're very frightened. Being in a quiet house alone could bother this person. Being in a quiet room could irritate this person, okay? They could become easily frustrated. You may have observed this, collective, in someone that you know. It's too quiet in here. We need some noise. They're always irate. They're always on the move. They have a very unsettling energy. That is a spiritual attachment. And so make sure that you're practicing your spiritual hygiene so that you'll stay within balance, because there's a lot of imbalance going on in the world around us. Okay. And so these are people that you cannot communicate with. You may have wanted to or thought about, like, maybe I should just talk to them. Maybe I should just, go have a conversation, maybe take them out to lunch. Maybe these are people you cannot communicate with. These are not people who even know how to indulge and have effective communication with another person, because there's so much unsettled energy. This is someone, like I said, they're likely to have an energetic attachment onto them. And it's something very deep rooted, and only, in their own timing, when they come to their own reality and they are ready for that awakening, they can come back to who they are. With the Two of Cups, they can come back to who they originally are. But that is something that takes place individually, and that is, that's a very special moment. I'll say that in life. And a person has to want to do that. They have to want to change, want to be better. And it takes time. Life is not easy for anyone, but it takes time, and they have to be willing to apply themselves. It's a process, a long process, But is this someone who's willing to endure what needs to be endured in order to receive a spiritual awakening? Or do they want to pump fake and pretend like they're in authority, and they're really not? This is someone who likely allows, people whom they are attached to define them. They like to be attached, to other people who have something going on for themselves. They are like the this would could also be someone who's like a flunky. It's an old word, but like a flunky. Okay, this is the person that goes to the store for everyone. No point is in it, but no one is doing it in return. This is someone who thinks they have it going on and they're this and that, but they're actually not. And this energy of this Ten of Wands, they feel this. They feel this. They may not say it because this person may be embarrassed. Like I said, each and every day when they look in the mirror, they don't like the reflection that they see. And I'm not talking about aesthetics or beauty here. They're unable to look through and into their own eyes. They're unable to stand there, and engage with their aura. They're very unsatisfied. And this could be someone who's very handsome and beautiful, but they don't know how beautiful they are. And so they spend their time holding and harnessing all this chaos and negative energy. And everyone who crosses their path gets a dose of what's in these boxes. And so they like to spew or inflict their energy onto others and exhaust everyone else's life who is around them. This could be someone whose family is aware that they have this kind of energy. Their own family members may assist them and show them a lot of love. And you may have witnesses like, well, they got a lot of love being shown to them. They just have some issues they need to take care of. The family even knows that there's something mental going on. This person could have a personality disorder here. Okay, so this is someone you handle with kitten gloves because they have issues. Okay, and they just don't love themselves. They're in a lower state of being. Okay, and you know this by how they consistently show up in a lower vibration. To be consistently toxic or confrontational is nothing to be afraid of or ooh. It really makes people look at you as if you're a science project. It really does. Just like a scientist would study the theses and the outcome and how things will change and the metamorphosis over time of a project or something they're working on, or they'll go to the microscope, they'll get a closer view at what's going on inside. It actually makes you come off as a clown. It makes you come off as a goofy. And this is something that people don't know. So there are people who really actually feel that being loud and confrontational and trying to show out, that is proven a point, but it proves nothing because there's always someone watching. We are all being watched. We're all being monitored and accounted for. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. Okay. And, the fun fact is you never know who's watching you. And spiritually speaking, okay, I'm speaking of the physical and spiritually speaking, you never know. And so this person, makes themselves look foolish, okay? You may hear them turn up for a minute, trying to create some ruckus, and then you'll get this. You'll get this right here. This is possibly when they're coming down, they're no longer inebriated, they're no longer, they have no more energy. Maybe their energy attachment has taken a rest and transferred to someone else because we know energy is never destroyed. It's simply transferred from one person, place, and thing or another. So yeah, they're up, then they're down, that kind of energy. Okay. This is a perfect example. All smiles, they're good one moment, and then the next minute, everything is dark. Good this moment, and everything is dark. All alone. I don't this. I don't love myself. Woe is me, and I don't like what they did to me when I was 12, and I'm not over so and so stepped on my pinky toe this morning, and then they burnt my toes, and then today is a lovely day. Yeah. So Spirit just wants you to be aware that this energy resides whenever you come into contact with just people who are low vibration. Okay, they are just presenting to you, even if these are people you don't know. You could be somewhere, maybe you're waiting in a doctor office or something, waiting for your name to be called or anything, and you see someone that you don't know, a total stranger. Maybe they may have an altercation with someone, and this person is loud and creating a scene. In their mind, in their mental faculty, they feel like they are just doing the biggest. They feel like they're making a ripple effect in someone else's life, when actuality, what you get out always return. They're actually making a ripple effect in their own life. Everything that comes out their mouth that has unpure intentions, every action that they take that has unpure intentions, you know, um, you have to pay for it. It's going to be accounted for. That's how energy works. Okay. Yeah. With the Hierophant here, you see, there's a box being passed. That's how energy works. Okay. And so once a person knows, when you are a leader, you know who you are. You know why you are here. You know about your purpose. You're walking in your purpose, and you're someone who is seen. You could be under observation from many people collective, and people see how you stand in your power. And rather than, very few will compliment, and it's okay. I'm pretty sure you're like, look, nobody needs a compliment. But there are people who will look at you from afar and pass judgment, and that's none of their business again, but trying to create a ripple effect. And then once again, the judgment that they're projecting onto you, they're only judging themselves. They're speaking of how they feel about themselves. But it's an intimidation thing. People, become jealous of contentment. People become jealous if you're maybe independent. Maybe you're someone very strong willed. Maybe you're very resilient. Okay. You have the leadership of qualities. You have obtained knowledge that you could pass down, and you're not arrogant or haughty. It's just that life has showed you, and you have accumulated a wealth of knowledge that can be applied to your current life in this current day. So you need to make no apologies about who you are. Spirit is saying never dim your light or change, but be mindful to stay disconnected from this energy. If you come across it, just don't engage with it. Because even if you wanted to have a conversation with this person, they don't know what a conversation is. Uh, I'm gonna put it like this: even if you want to have an apple or orange, they probably will look at you like, "What's the apple or orange?" It's that deep, okay? They wouldn't understand. You could be a person of peace. People often assume that peace means that you're afraid. No, it's not that people are scared of you. There are people that are just smarter than you. So be mindful. Is what these kind of people need to be aware of. The person that is knows how to be silent and reserved whenever they're in the presence of a goofy. That's the one who's standing in their power. That is the one who is most vibrant. That is the one who is most magical and abundant. And that is the one who maintains their balance. And you're not able to make them waver in their faith. That's why you're being looked at as a leader. And there are people who admire the stance, the energy that you harness. But rather than say, you know what, you're pretty cool, they rather project onto you. Okay. So, create some kind of chaos or some mess. They want to get messy. Or even if they don't know you, the best thing a person could do, which we're supposed to do, but it rarely happens, is when we see progress or we see something that is admirable, to be motivated in our own personal lives. This doesn't mean we have to tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, I like what you're doing. You can just observe them and say, you know what? It's like a good example of this is like this. You got two kids, you tell both of them go clean your room. One of them already cleaning, the other one wants to rebel. They're on their video game. You like, I told you to clean the room up. You got one child cleaning the room up, vacuuming the floor. They're going beyond. But the other child is resistant. The resistant child is really supposed to look at their sibling and say, you know what? My brother and sister is handling their business. You know what? I feel inspired. Let me go clean my room. That's really what we're supposed to do. That's just an example of when we see progress in any way or any level, not become jealous, not become angry or intimidated, but simply be encouraged to work on ourselves. If it's something we want to release, you have free will to release it. If it's a relationship you need to get out of because you know that you're being used and taken advantage of, this is where somebody needs to hear it, you have free will to get out of that connection. It's a waste of time to spend your life in this energy. To spend your life in this energy, and everyone else is living their life. The calendar is moving, the clock is moving, time is a ticking, okay, and life is going on. So why not bet on you while you're here? That's the best thing you can do is give yourself the best you can. And it's not about where you're at in this moment. Just always do your best to give yourself your best, okay? And so there is no miracle is going to come down if you choose to stay in any kind of connection that is unhealthy for you, where you're being used, taken advantage of. Maybe you're fighting some kind of, I don't know, some kind of habit or addiction. Hey, reach out, get help for that. If it's bothering you, if you feel it's bothering you and it plays in your mind over and over, and it makes you act some type of way where people want to run from you. Because I'm also picking up, there is someone who, that carries this energy collective. You may know somebody who's going through this. Their family and friends often run from them. One moment they tend to them, like assist them, here and there, but really they run from them. And when I say run, I'm saying they hate to see them in that condition. Okay, they're running in love of themselves. They know what it is. They don't want to be bothered. Okay, this is someone very toxic, very negative, dealing with a lot of darkness. They have a lot of dark energy attachment onto them. And they're not trying to do anything to change this, nor do they want to. And this could also be someone who's been offered, what is it? Do you need therapy? Do you need counseling? Do you need rehab? What is it that you need? Do we need to talk? Did I do something to you when you were a child? Family has helped, and there is family who helps this person, but a lot of them run, and they run out of love because number one, they don't like seeing them in that energy, and they know it's about to be some bullish. Okay, they know it's about to be some mess, and folks don't want to be a part of it. Self-preservation. I didn't said it, and I always say it. You love yourself. You want to have peace in your life, and even if it's a family member, and they bringing this, you're fleeing. You're fleeing, and these are people who could have possibly, like I just said, helped this person many a days, and they like, you know what? Look, I'm getting up in age. I'm not dealing with that. No more, no more. Okay. With the 10 at the top, completion, end of cycle. There are people who are choosing to utilize their leadership qualities, and leadership qualities could be simply you taking authority in your life and not allowing just anyone to pull on your energy, whenever they get ready to, because they don't know how to be still, or they're antsy or full of anxiety, or, they got all these frustrations inside of them, spiritually speaking. This is the energy of someone who is spiritually disheveled. And so that's a deep rooted situation. And this is nothing to take lightly, but Spirit wanted this message out to inform the people that if you are experiencing this from someone, whether you know the person or not, they're only showing you how they feel about themselves on the inside. And unfortunately, this is a person or people who don't love themselves. They have low self-esteem and they don't love themselves, because when you do love yourself, you express and you show that, and you partake in only energy and opportunities that will possibly increase your frequency, that will add on to you, not take away from you. You're going to be mindful of the things that you engage in, people, places, and things, as well as your actions, because you know that those things are coming right back to you. Truly so. So that's how you know, because someone needs to know that. That's how you know that there's low self-esteem. When you see that this person is consistent and is always negative, there's nothing pleasant There's nothing pleasant. There's nothing happy going on. In their mind, everything is dark, as I just showed you. In their mind, collective, in their mind, everything is dark. They're shocked even at themselves when they look in the mirror. They can't believe it because they're thinking about the time that is passing by and all that they have endured. I can't believe I've been making this mess all these years. Dang, I still ain't got my ish together. Dang, I still ain't did so and so, so and so. Dang, I hate that happened to me when I was a kid. I'm still holding on to that energy. Dang, I sure wish so and so would stop and answer their phone and stop dodging me. Dang, there's 101 inferior thoughts going through this person's mind constantly. And that's because they are spiritually disheveled. And so they go around dumping that energy onto other people so that they're left, with these empty cups. They want to empty what's in these cups. So they go around dumping that energy off onto other people. So Spirit wants you to be aware of that. There are a lot of things in our control and a lot of things out of our control. Be mindful of maintaining your peace, letting no one get you off your square. Continue creating the life you want to live and manifest, Never mind a hater or a naysayer. Only entertain people, places, and things that assist you for your highest good. Once again, when a person loves themselves. When a person is presenting a higher vibration, when a person is into learning and loving themselves and working on self-awareness, okay? All right, it's presented in front of you. And in the words of the great late Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, darling, you must believe them, male or female, because this is not just female energy. This could be a male figure, who knows someone who acts like this or carry on like they're the boss, they're this, and really they're not. They want to present themselves. This is what they want. This is how they want to be seen, but they're not seen in that image. And so when they get irate, get loud, maybe try to become confrontational, maybe try to disturb someone's energy or make someone upset, this is what they think they are doing. And this is why I'm saying this is someone with a personality disorder and they're very disheveled spiritually. It's deep rooted. They need help. And I'm not even saying all this to be funny. This is in their head of how they are seen. And it's not the truth. It's not the truth with the Ten of Wands here. This is exhaustion. This person is exhausted. This is their reality. But this is what they want to be. So if this is their reality, well, they need to start working to be who they want to be. It's not that they can't become this energy, standing in authority, very confident, knowing who they are. It's that they are choosing to be in the energy of the Ten of Wands. This is a choice. We are all given a choice each and every day here on planet Earth. And each and every day we are blessed with spirit in our body, the breath. Each and every day we are blessed. We should be honored to choose to focus on being grateful and focus on the love. No matter what's happening, you can only do what you can and surrender the rest. No matter what you're even battling in this moment or what you're worried and concerned about, you can just surrender that. If you've done what you can, trust and know better days are ahead. Okay, so Spirit wants you to know that and not give up on yourself. Stay positive, keep the vibe vibing, and that irritates this person because, see, this is your energy. You're in confidence. You're in your confidence. You're very confident. You're very self-aware. You know who you are, and this is what they see. But this is also what they want to be. Male or female, gender is fluid in tarot. This is what they see, collective, and this is what they want to be. So imagine that for a minute. Spirit is telling you to hold this card. This is what they see, and this is who they want to be. And it's becoming frustrating because every time they see you and every time you show up, when you pull in your driveway at work or your driveway at home, possibly, okay? Or you pull in a parking lot at work and you swipe in, or maybe you come into the break room. This could be in church, okay? This could be anywhere. This could be at a family dinner, you pulling up, here you come. and you're doing nothing but being your natural self. This is natural for you. This is natural. And yeah, from time to time, you go have a good time. You go have a good time and turn up. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But here's the gist of it. You're doing everything within a balance, and you're not projecting negative energy. You're not projecting negative energy. Okay? You're not projecting negative energy. You understand spiritual law. You understand the repercussion of projecting unwarranted energy onto people who are not deserving of it. Just because you don't know how to process your issues of who you are, you understand it. This person could also be a covert narcissist. This person is hiding their face, want to control, or they could be under the, ooh, all right, spirit, they could be under the control of a covert narcissist. They could have someone dogging them and ooh, wait, come on now. Woo! Come on now. This person, male or female, can be under the control of someone who's a covert narcissist. And because they are being mistreated or dogged out or mishandled, this is another thing they are projecting. As I spoke of earlier, this could be someone who wants to tell you what to do. And you like, look, I know how to do my job. I don't need you to tell me what to do. This could be someone very bossy in your family. Every time, oh, did you do so and so? And you like, I don't need your instructions. You calling me for this? They want to control everything. They want to make it look like you need their assistance, and it pees them off because you're constantly showing up and people know you don't need their assistance. That's the truth. This is your energy. This is what they want to be as well. They need your assistance. You don't need theirs. It's vice versa. But this person could also be under the control of a narcissist. This could be a relationship. This could be someone who's a third party as well. And that could distract them or put them in an energy of stress, being used, and only can be in entanglements when that person wants to deal with them. There's a lot of swords in this bag, and there's a mask, okay? So this person is hiding a lot. There's a lot to hide. There's a lot of battles that they're fighting, but this is within them. This has nothing to do with you, though they often try to project. It is seen. The fun fact about this person that is low vibrational and spiritually disheveled, these swords with this mask here, every time they present themselves, this energy is seen. And it's seen because it's how they choose to present themselves. It's a choice. We all have a choice, and hey, sometimes you think you're hot and you're really not. And I'm not talking about aesthetics. We're talking about energy. We're talking about vibes. We're talking about spirit. We're talking about standing in your purpose. We're talking about maintaining your peace and recognizing when someone has an energy attachment and they have some deep rooted issues. Okay, so they have to be handled very delicately, meaning not even engaging with them at all. And I love this card here. Spirit is saying for you to rest. The whole objective of this message is for you, collective, to know you can rest and relax. The sword is on the side of that tub because she's like, look, I know who I am. I ain't forgot where I came. I ain't no punk, yo. But I'm not engaging because I see who you are. I see you're someone who could be fighting some things. I don't feel sorry for you, but I understand you're fighting some things. And the battle is within you. It has nothing to do with me. Okay? So Spirit wants you to rest assured that there is nothing when you come across these kind of people, whether they're in your family or on your job or in your church. You can have someone in your church community being very bossy and, I don't know, passing bad bones about people, gossiping and just lying on folks. And you can be like, when is it going to stop? Like, when is it going to stop? But yes, and this sword also represents that you can relax, along with the candle here, but your spirit team is always present. And so with that being said, this same person who may be trying to be confrontational or just actually a hater, this is just a hater. They don't like themselves and they're a hater. That's what this is, but this person could experience different things collapsing in their life, things being dismantled. And it's not because you're doing anything to them. It's the energy that they are putting out, returning to them, and they put out a lot. These cups that are tipped over, this is energy that this is representing in this read, energy that they have projected onto people. Lies, gossip, slander, third party action, just about anything negative and dark. And so what they put out is just circling back to them. Okay. And so the sword in this candle here is representing your spirit team and letting you know we got you. We always have, we always will. Okay. So this concludes the read. I trust and hope it assists you for your highest good. Later.